Namaste everyone, I want to make a video today about Saturn square the moon. And if you're born with the natal Saturn square your moon, you're going to have difficulty with discerning your emotions, okay? And especially with negativity, because Saturn has to do with restriction and the moon has to do with the unconscious, okay? Now, if these two would be trining, all right, the moon and Saturn would be in harmony and they would support each other, okay? And instead of Saturn restricting the moon, restricting your subconscious, and instead of the moon pretty much giving a negative feeling towards Saturn and making it more heavy, then if they were in a trine, then what Saturn would do is that it would actually assist the moon and be more structural with the emotion, okay? Be more in control, not restricted. There's a difference, okay? There's an unbalanced difference that when you're squared, okay, you're restricted, but when you're in harmony in a trine, you're actually flowing freely, but you're more structured in a positive way. And that's the difference between a trine and a square, okay? And a square is more of a karmic debt, okay, that you have to pay, okay? It's something that maybe perhaps you did something wrong, a mistake in life, and you kept repeating that same mistake. You didn't learn from it, and now in this life you are faced with that karmic blueprint of having it throughout your whole entire life, of having to deal with it constantly, okay? Having that lesson repeated constantly and having to prove yourself. Even though if you pass it once or twice or 3 times, you kind of have to keep battling those 2 planets, you know, till you die. And that's what mastery is, doing it over and over again. And I know it may seem, you know, long because you're here, and sometimes it does seem long living here, but really it's actually not that long in comparison to eternity, which is what your soul has been through, which is the age of your soul, okay? So when you have the moon and when you have Saturn in a square, the person tends to be a little bit cold-hearted, or at least tends to reflect that. Okay, because that's what the moon is, reflection. So the moon kind of tends to reflect a negative aspect of Saturn because it's squared. So the moon is more negative and you don't even know it. I have Saturn squared moon, okay, just by 1 degree, but that's actually considered a square. And I wouldn't know if I'm being negative unless somebody else brought it up. Why? Because I'm not aware, okay? It's something that is habitual because the moon has to do with habits. So having the moon squaring Saturn is a habit of me being negative anyway, so somebody has to bring it up to my attention. Luckily, I have the moon trining Mars, which Mars means action, okay? And that actually balances that square that I have with Saturn because I actually think before I act. So it actually saves me a lot of trouble, but a lot of people don't have that blessing, that dharma in their chart. So a lot of people don't learn from it, or are not aware of it, and don't know how to assess that situation and overcome that aspect throughout their lives, okay? They don't know how to stop the action before it happens. You know what I mean? And that's why I'm saying that if you have Saturn square moon, you have to be aware that you are a bit negative all the time because you don't know it. But you have to become more aware, and you have to get a journal, and you have to start journaling, okay, what you're thinking, and that's what I do. And journaling does help a lot. Journaling could actually, help you see things that you would now see. Like I have like 5 journals, okay, 1 for dreaming, 1 for thinking, 1 for transit, 1 for keeping tabs with people. Things that I do, 1 for divination, laying out cards and stuff like that. But that actually helps me because even if I'm being negative on the journals, I actually see that negativity and I could actually form a plan to counteract it, okay? This is why it's important for Saturn moon square to have a journal, okay? So you could keep tabs of your emotions and you could keep overcoming them daily, okay? And this is actually a war that you got to go through. You have to go through a war with yourself, with your subconscious, okay? And you have to form new patterns. Okay, you have to form new patterns. You got to break through that. You have to do what the opposite of the moon is, the sun. You have to use some willpower. And if you don't use that willpower, then you're going to be living a habit without even knowing it. And you're going to have destructive behavior and creating more karmic debt throughout your life. So it's very important that you are aware of this aspect. Okay. Another thing I wanted to mention is that Saturn and square moon is that these people, they come off as very cool. They don't like to get involved, with hugs or kisses, and show some emotion around people. They don't like that, okay? Because, Saturn rules Capricorn, has to do with building a wall. So they do build a wall around other people. You don't trust very much, okay? You kind of have to win these people over time. Okay, they're not that easy. They don't get moved easily by smiles. Okay. However, this aspect, they might not show love, in a way that other people do, like, hugs and stuff like that. However, they will clean your vomit if you're sick. If they really love you, they will help you. They will assist you in another way. They may not show their love in an affectionate way, but they will show their love with being reliable. Okay. So ask yourself, how did these people, become this way? And it's usually in their childhood. Okay, because Saturn has to do with restructuring, and what is restructuring? You get your ego starts to build when you're a child. And what is the moon? The moon is a mother or a parent. Okay, the parent that played the role of the mother, the nurturer. And when you have that square between growing up and the moon, the mother, what it means is that there was actually one absent parent, or a parent that did not feed that child any nurturing. Okay, and as a result, that conditioned the subconscious of the child, which is the moon. It actually built up a wall, and instead of making Saturn feel safe. So that is how that person became that way, that that they reflect that they are. That's how they react, because that's how they were built. So again, maybe they went through this as a kid, because it's a karmic debt. Squares are considered karmic debt. Okay. And the more they are in a 90-degree angle, the more it indicates a stronger manifestation, okay, of that aspect. So I hope this video shed some light on that Saturn square moon. And if you have this aspect, I hope that you're able to overcome any negative tendencies. Namaste.